Salud! Loosen John Beats. Norma's G, fresh, gammon Norma's G, fresh, gammon gammon the mother Timberline, the chip of winter cap, the chopper lit, the tack of chick, come out a big gay. What's the dealio? Get designer, come and get a papa chitta, and not the banana, cigar is head, the radar, the bar again is head, the just stereo. Hey, come on the radio, the common not to get the stereo. But you can scenario, not the rapping, come on to see the Leo. Gosh, it's up, come on, Scorpion. Jack Obama, Aki, I get a Baba Daddy. Say, see it again, Jamina, the Yogi. Politicians and I do what the motochi. Snack no more, the one singer, the Bobby. I'm the Normas G, the house of Papa. The get a superstar, the get a champion. Bring your girls a party up. I get to get the power, my damn, but in the D, I get to. Not show me how to get a horse, I let the get to. Police get the bomb, I get to. My attack, get the bomb, I get to. Niggas, get the side, I get to. God, come and say, I get to. Get a champion, to get a superstar, to get a champion. I guess I'm not surprised, second your flow. Right, you I get a my nigga say I slow. Not like I like it, second check to go. In a nigga pop with these, I get jack you low. But I get down with J niggas on my J show. I'm quick below, I got you don't come up and show. Means I can chill with my guy, and shake the show the show. When the mic I get a any show. So part of my men, so part of dancing. So big that you know what I feel so rapping. You not for now, why? We can't get why. We got to fight you, I get a sing the hustling. My person wouldn't like to feel like TT. Blood feeling, I get a back guarantee. Singularity, I get a back to a D. Propaganda, we give a people so deep.
I get to police get about me hating. Mata get about me loving. You get to Saja Kaji. Kagam Sekachi. Get a champion, get a superstar, get a champion. Hello, hello, hello. Hello, 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 hello. Hello. Oh, 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 oh. Hello, hello, hello. Hi, everybody. Party after party. Are you ready for today's live coding session? Good afternoon, good morning. Well, we can remove the banner that says we are going live because we are live now. Hi, it's me once again, it's your host with the Nemo host. Now, I am Sani Yusuf, and we're going to be going live today. We're going to be working on the Coruun website, which we started yesterday. And today we're going to add a few more features. So I'll show you sort of like what we did yesterday and what we're going to be doing today. You know, what it's going to be like. So hopefully you can sort of like see what we're doing. So let me share my screen with all of you, and feel free, by the way, anybody watching, you actually can join the show. So you can like come here and I would have your face here and people watch you. So you can like send me a DM or tweet at me and I will send you a link and you can join. I'm allowed to have as many as 5 guests so we can literally build this thing together. So feel free to send chats as well. We are live on Twitter and YouTube today because we're not using Facebook. We don't really get a lot of people learning how to code on Facebook, but Twitter seems to be the one that a lot of people use, and then YouTube. So Salam alaikum Malan Sani Barkada Dawa Barkadi HausaFilms.tv. I don't know who you are, but Barkadi Ya Abuwa Lafia Kalaudiko. Yeah. All right, cool. Let me share the screen. I am going to share. Let me see. Hold on. Are you using Streamlabs to do this? It's pretty cool. I am not using Streamlabs. I'm using StreamYard. StreamYard is much better. Much better. It's much better to do this actually with StreamYard. You know, that's exactly what you do. Okay, 1 second. Let me share the screen here. I'm going to share screen too. So you can see my Twitter. By the way, feel free to follow me on Twitter. I am at Sani Yusuf, Come on, look at this fine boy. Look at this fine boy. Look at this fine boy. Do you have fine boy like this that's teaching you how to code? No, you don't. No, you do not. No, you do not. So, anyways, I'm going to do it this way. I guess we can do it this way. No, this way. This way is better. Yes. Look at this fine boy. Come on, follow this fine boy. This is weird. I can see us showing ourselves here. That's very interesting. Anyways, so if you actually, and also follow me on LinkedIn at Sani Yusuf, you can see that I am on LinkedIn as well. So here, this is our website, Coruun.com. So I was able to figure out how to make it work. So if you actually go to Coruun.com, Coruun.com, you will see our website. And let's make it a little bit larger. Let's make it a little bit larger. Yeah. Let's make it this large, right? Yeah, so everybody can see. So this is what we have here. You can see that we can make this a little bit larger. This is what we're able to do yesterday. We created the Nigerian breakdown figures where you see the cases till date, the recovered cases. Of course, it's still using a much more outdated piece of data. What's it called? Then you see this recovered cases, deaths, and active cases, and we have this very nice graph that sort of shows us active cases, deaths, and discharge. So you can see that we're doing pretty well in Nigeria. The discharge cases, a lot of people have been discharged, and there's not as many deaths as possible. And then you can see the states here. You can see the states. You can see some sort of like the states. So the next thing we're going to go and do is we're going to create the individual states pages, right? So let's go to the code, and I'm going to open up WebStorm. Let me bring this up here. Let me see. Project Coruun. Let me bring this up here. Let me make this full screen. Yes. So apparently my the person I worked on this project with, Tahir, just said he just sent an up-to-date version of the data. So look at that. If we refresh, we see this is live data. This is the most up-to-date version of data. Oh my God. You can see that we have 1,000 cases in Lagos, Kano, you're in big trouble. And FCT, Gombe, Borno. Oh my God, you can see that. This is really scary. You can see all the states. Is there any? Oh, my state, Yobe. There are 4 people in Yobe that have coronavirus. So this is really interesting. So this is what we were able to do yesterday. Let's go ahead and actually go back to the code. Let's do ng-serve. No, that's the wrong command. ng-serve with the E. And then this will go ahead and launch it on. So we can actually close this here. And let's open the Apex theme. This is the website for the theme that we are using. So someone is asking, how are the analytics looking on day 1? I haven't actually checked the analytics really. We could probably check that together. I'm guessing not a lot of people because we haven't really announced anything. So we're kind of just building this as we go. So this is the theme we're using, ladies and gentlemen. Remember Apex theme. You can just Google Apex theme. It will show you the theme we're using. So you can go there and recommend that we show things. So let's look at our serve. Our serve is now working. So if you go to localhost 4200, you can see the stuff here. This is using the most up-to-date data. So I think in Nigeria we're doing pretty well. We have a death rate of only, very few amount of people, like 68. The death to recovery rate is around ratio 1 to 5, because this is around 70, this is around 350. 1 is to 5, which is pretty good. For every 1 person that dies, or 5 people that recovered, so for every 6 people, 1 person dies. And that's so sad, but I think in the grand scheme of things, the recovery rate is pretty good, but we can make it even better so that we can have this number lower. So kudos to the NCDC, Nigerian Center of Disease Control. They're really doing an amazing job here. They're doing a really amazing job. So let's go ahead. And first of all, what we want to do, the first thing is when we come here and we click every one of these states, we can go into that particular state detail. So let's go there. We would say the first thing we will do is we will go into the app routing module, and we will go into this full route here. So home, but I guess we want to be able to create a new path for states. All right. So first of all, we need to create a detail page for the state. So let's make this larger, much larger, to make sure that we can only see 24 lines exactly. So we need to create a detail page for the states. So let's go ahead and generate that. So ng generate module states. We can call it state and then dash routing so that we can have a routing for this particular module. Yeah, and then now that we have generated that, we now want to do ng generate component state / state detail, and we generate that particular component, and that component is going to be created in the state. So if we look in here, there should be a state folder with a state detail. So here we go, state and state detail. So we've successfully created that. Now we can go in there and we can go in there and we can now do our routing, the routing we wanted to do. So we can come here and do our routing. So we can say, well, I'll come here, I'll create another route called, let's say for the what's it called? So here we can do path. We can call that path state / state ID. Let's have a state ID, if that makes sense. So state ID, right? Because we do have a state ID. So then here we can do load children, and we can do this, and we can say we can load children, and then we can use the method here, and then in here we would say import, and here we would say we go back to that states folder. We do our state module, and then after this we say .then. We say module. Let me just do this so that I can actually see better. Module dot state module and module dot state module. Let's prettify everything, and that looks pretty good. So now we need to go into that state module itself, which is here, the state routing module, and we do the routing there. So let's make this a little bit larger. Let's make this a little bit larger. Feel free to send comments on Twitter. You can send comments directly. I can see them on this platform, or you can send me a DM if you want to be a part of this as well. You can ask any questions. So in here, we'll create a new path, and we'll say path. We can do this, and then we can say, here we'll say component, which component we want, which is the state detail component. And we can do that. And that looks amazing. That looks absolutely amazing. So now, if we click, well, we need to go and set the clicker. So we need to go to the home page itself here. So we can close everything here, actually close all. Let's go to home, and home, let's open the HTML of the home. So right now, this is where we have our repeater, right? So we would go here and we would say, whenever somebody clicks this, how do we do this? We can actually do it let's go here and say router link here, and then we would say the router link here, we would say state data. Well, the router link takes in an array, right? So we would say state data. First of all, we'll say, let's add this here. State data dot ID. So that's the second part of the what's it called? So The first thing we need to add here is we need to add is this. We need to say states like that, I guess, because this is a root route, and then now we want to prettify this, and then we can go ahead and test, and we can test that out. So if we click anything now, it should take us to the state detail page. Oh, it takes us to the error page, which means something is not right. Something is absolutely wrong here. Let's see. Okay, so we do not have that, which is interesting. Let's look at that. Oh, actually, it's this. It's states, not states. So this is state. So now if we click this, this should also, oh, it still doesn't work. That's interesting. So let's see what the problem is. So it still doesn't take us to where we want to go to, which is state/state ID. So let's actually look at our routing module again, the full route. It's state/state ID, right? Okay. So why are we not getting any state/state ID? Let's try this brute force. Uh-oh. Oh, that's interesting. That's interesting. Why are we getting sometimes it looks like we're not doing anything wrong here. Let's actually kill the serve and restart it again. Okay, so we are going to click this. So now it works. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the world of Angular, where sometimes you do everything right, but the build wouldn't just, work properly. So it is what it is. We can see that we've fixed this particular problem now. Again, so what else are we going to do? What next are we going to do? Now that we fixed this problem, we are now going to go into the state detail. So I'm guessing for the state detail, we'll probably have something that looks very similar to this. So let's actually look at the model for the state data itself. Let's go into state module, state detail component. No. Let's go to the home module, the home component. Let's see that. Let's look at the Corona data type. So this is what the state detail itself looks like. It looks like this, which is interesting. So you can see that Corona data. So each of the state has a name and a case breakdown, and the case breakdown has exactly the same screenshot as this particular thing. So I think what would be nice is we could have this for each state, and then we can have its own breakdown using the state name itself. So okay, so let's go here. So that means we can actually reuse a little bit of our code in here. We can copy the countrywide breakdown, right? We can literally copy this here, and we can go to the home component, or we can go to the state detail component. We can go into the HTML here. Let's make this a little bit larger. So here it would want us to, I guess, add let's import this Nigerian breakdown. Breakdown figure for, well, let's name this state. Like let's say Lagos State, right? And I'm guessing, yes, there's a lot of things in here that we don't have, like the corona data, a lot of all this, let's import this here. So let's import this chart module. I guess what we can do is we can maybe comment out this piece of code for now, because we'll be implementing this a little bit later, and we can go ahead and maybe I guess get the data for the states, which means we would go in here. Actually, we can copy the code from the home page itself, right? Which is literally this piece of data works. We can copy this here. We can then go to here. We can replace the constructor here, and then it would want us to have corona data. So we can create that field called corona data, and we can import the observable itself. But actually, instead, what we should do is, first of all, let's comment this piece of code out, right? And this should not be corona data. Actually, this should be, I guess this should be an observable of not just corona data. We want a state list information, right? So let's export this particular guy here, because this is what we want returned, the state list data. So I'll close this. I'll close this module. We don't need this module here, and this should be of state list. List. Exactly. This is what we want returned. Let's rename this to state data. It's data for the state, right? So the next thing we can do now is we need to map that information, that piece of information here. So we don't actually need this here. Here we can just really just map. First of all, we need to get the particular state ID, and that's what is sent. So every time, if we look at this, every time we click a particular state, we're sending the state ID, right? So Lagos, we're sending /24 for Lagos. So we have an ID that we're sending, and we need to retrieve that ID, because with that ID, we can go and fetch the particular state date. So with that, I'm just going to use the activated route of Angular, because the activated route here, activated route, that's what gives you access to everything about that particular route. And in the pipe here, we can actually just come in here and we can say what we should be doing is saying maybe pluck. We should use the pluck operator, right? That's interesting. So we will need that particular piece of data, and then what we want to do is we want to use that ID to search. So that's interesting. So I guess we will need to so we need to actually approach this a little bit differently, and what we need to do is use the pluck operator. We will need to stream. We need to get two streams, right? So one will have the ID, one will have the okay, I know what we're going to do here. We're going to create a constant here. State ID. This is a stream of the state ID, and that will be activated route.params.pipe, right? And then we pluck here. We say we want to pluck that particular parameter, and the name of the parameter is state ID Okay, like that. So this is one stream. And then we probably want to say const state data. And you put the question, the dollar sign in the end just to show that this is an observable. There's nothing really special here, just to show that this is an observable, right? And here, this one would be, we go fetch this particular piece of data. So we need to remove this plot here. And we don't actually need this part here, right? We don't need that part. And we need to get the data itself. Now we need to then we need to then combine the stream. Let me just have a look at Twitter to make sure no one is sending me a message, anything. And by the way, if you work with Angular, feel free to join. If you work with Angular, feel free to join. Want to join my stream? I'm just inviting potential guests. Okay, so that's kind of like what we're doing now. So we have these two streams, right? Now we want to combine them. We want to so there's something called the zip operator. And what the zip operator is, it combines multiple streams. So in fact, reactive.how. Yeah, so we want to use the zip operator here. So we would say, we'll do this. We'll say, come in here and say const zipped stream. This is the stream of the zipped the zipped information. Yeah. And what we do next is we then take this stream equals, we use the zip operator. Oh, this is zip, and this would one we can say state data, and the state state ID and then state data. So probably shift the so now. Now we have these two streams, right? We have these two streams, and they're both returning us some form of data. And now we say this dot Corona Nigerian information data equals to zip streams dot pipe. The pipe, and this returns you. We need to in some way map. Yeah, we need a map operator. We need a map operator. Actually, we're using this wrong. So we need a map operator. And in that map operator, we'd have a piece of data. It takes in a function as a parameter, and that function would be the state ID first, because it's an array of things, and then the second one would be the Corona. Well, actually, you know what we can? Yeah, Corona Corona data. Think about this, Sunny. Wait, I'm thinking actually, why do we need to merge this? Because we could just capture the ID first and then take that ID. Oh no, then we need to return the clock. Then we have access to the ID. We need to return. So I think this is the better way. This is the better way. Now we have access to both of them. So we would say const state data equals taking corona data, the corona data dot state list why is corona data returning a number? We're gonna remove this. Maybe we don't need the share operator here, right? We don't actually need the pipe here. Nope. Or wait, actually, this returns an array. Yeah, the zipped array will be zipped array in position 1 dot exactly. This is what we need. A state list dot find. We need to say where. Well, I guess the main thing we can do is const state ID is equal to zip array in position 0, right? Because that's the first element. Then we need to find where state, it's a state dot ID equals state ID, like that. You know, state ID equals state ID. Then we take the state data and now that contains the state data. So we can then return that particular state data. We should have the state information of, so this is basically saying just return this. No, for readability's sake, this is much better. So I think we can look at this. If there are any questions, please feel free to throw them up in the chat. And then this should have the Corona Nigerian data inside this. And then this, we can say, here, we can test it out and say if we can get the state name. Async, the name of the state, and then we save it. And then we can go and preview this. Okay, so let's try this. Let's refresh. Let's go to Lagos. So we are not getting the Lagos state. So let's see, what are we doing wrong? What are we doing wrong? What are we doing wrong? And now on my own, yeah, I can do you just like a queen. But now I feel you ain't me. So, okay, what we can do is we can, let's console log here. Let's tap this thing here. Okay, so let's log in the data. So we're definitely getting the correct data, right? You can see here we're getting to it. Oh, this is passed as a string. Of course, it's passed as a string. So we need to pass it as a number, parse int. Pass this as an integer, so of course it's, and then we change this to make sure we're using the radix format. So this is how you pass an integer. You use the pass int method function, and then it will just, you pass in the string, and then you use the base 10 system so that it goes business. So here now you can see Lagos state. So we can actually delete this tap operator here. We don't need the tap operator. So you can see that it says Lagos state because this Lagos is coming dynamically. That's why you can see a slight delay. And then here now we can basically copy this here, and we can paste this here. Case breakdown dot case till date. We can then copy this. Actually, we can just do dot case breakdown here. Just copy this bit here and say this dot discharged, dot death till date, and okay, and active cases. So if we save this now, we go back here. So you can see these are the active cases in Lagos, total recovered, deaths, and the active cases recovered, deaths, and all of that. So we can see that there is a, like, this data is gotten from the live stream. So we can literally then now go and do the same thing we did here in the home page. We can copy the, well, we had it already, which is this part here. We can uncomment this part here. Actually, we should uncomment here. This is all we need to comment out. You told me, baby, that you love me. Before my eyes, it's hard to see. Hard to see. Here, we go here, and we can copy this piece of data here. And we can copy it. Now we're going to paste it on here. So we can see here we have 000, active cases, deaths, discharged, and then we need to find a way to map that particular piece of data, which means we can do it on this level, I guess. This is the one we're interested in. Donut chart. So we can come in here and say, as soon as we get the states data, just before we return it, we can say this dot donut chart data equals. Now we need to do the active cases. So we need to say, well, it's in the order of active death discharge, active death discharge. So here dot case breakdown dot active cases dot case breakdown dot deaths till date. Then just duplicate this discharge. And we go in here and we say this total case breakdown for here we say for, we change this to try and use the async pipe here. Name, then we add state. And we have the state name now. We don't actually need these events here. We don't actually need it. these events here. Then what else? So let's actually have a look at this. So here we can see. You see what it says. It says graphic breakdown for Lagos State. Exactly. So you can now see state by state. So this is what Lagos looks like. Actually, most people in Lagos have recovered. So we can now go back to the home page and we can test another page. We can see Kano. Kano has no person discharged. So Kano is really graphic information is really important because no one has ever been discharged in Kano. You already have 3 recorded deaths due to coronavirus. So you want to bring down this number of active cases, because if you look at a state like Lagos, for example, what happened here? I don't know what happened, but let's see. I have no idea why the data is not loading. Huh. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we literally just had this thing working now, and then for whatever reason, it is no longer retrieving our data. God knows why that's happening. Let's just see, can we still go to like the internet? Can we go to Twitter? It's on my internet. And that is okay. It seems to be back. It seems to be back. I believe it is back. No, it's not that. That was, what's it called? All right, this is very weird. Again, when in doubt, kill the serve. Oh, we have an error. Oh, we have an error. Sorry, on the compiler. On the state detail. Oh, we instantiated this as private for whatever reason. You know, the funny thing is we should actually remove all this public because it's redundant. In TypeScript, by default, everything is public. So let's save that. That's interesting. Normally, this wouldn't really be an error in the old version of Angular. Oh, so here we go. So this is really lovely. So you can kind of see what we've done here. So let's try Lagos. Again, you can see the case breakdown Lagos. What we should probably do is be sharing this particular stream. So what we would do here is share. Let's go to the state detail page here, and we would share. We would make sure that after this, we call a share operator. So anybody that is subscribing to this is not triggering a new call here. Oh, actually, we're putting this in the wrong place. This is what it looks like. And I'll go over what we've just done, by the way. Let's sort of like have a play around. So you can see here, we can go to Lagos. We can see the graphic breakdown of Lagos. You can go to Kano. You can see the graphic breakdown of Kano. You can go to, what's it called? FCT. Here, this is what Abuja looks like. Let me try my state, Yobe. So no deaths, just 4 active cases. Let's see, Bauchi. No deaths yet recorded. That's really interesting. So let's see, Ogun State. So in all, actually, if you look at the graphs here, Gombe has a lot of cases, 92 cases. My God, this is really interesting. And you have Oyo. So Oyo has actually done a good job in discharging people. We have I think this is the largest discharge details that we could see so far. Kaduna is an interesting one. Let's see Kaduna. Okay, we have a lot of active cases. So this is kind of what we want, right? We can see this here. This is what we are. So there's a question. Someone is saying, Tosin Amuda is asking what tool we're using for the chart. So we are actually using the what's it called? What's the name of this library here? It's called the chart.js. So this is chart.js. We're using chart.js, the Angular version of chart.js. So chart.js. This is chart.js. Is exactly what the ng chart.js is exactly what we're doing. And this was developed by my very good friends from Valor. So the smartest Ukrainians in the world. Really, really crazily smart people. So the Valor guys, they have like dark theme, light theme. You can really do a lot of cool stuff. And they're the ones that kind of like develop this. So you can see like this is what we're using here. This is the donut chart we're using, but we're probably using the light theme, I guess. But we can sort of like take it on dark mode as well. So that's what we're using here. And you can see this. It's really, really interesting, I guess. But yeah, this is what we are using. And I guess in the future, we'll probably make this shareable where people can actually share this as an iframe or as an image, so that you can have embedded like tools there that would embed it for you. But yeah, this is what we're using now. So hopefully that has been answered. But look at what we've been able to do today in just 40 minutes. So look at that. Now we have the cases bring down. So let me just take a photo of what we've done here and post it on Twitter. Let's see. Let's post it on Twitter. Do we have any comments on Twitter? So I guess what we can do now is we can go over the code before we do a little bit of cleanup. Let's go over the code. The first thing we did is we generated this state detail here, the state detail module, right? We generated state detail module. This is a module that housed all the state components and everything about the state. So this state detail module, right? And then we added this chart, the charts module, the match height thing, and then we went and created a state detail component inside of that. And in the state detail component, we have this Corona Nigerian state data observable here, and we're using the state list. And then we basically just we created the data for the donut chart. So whenever we start our chart, we just set everything to 0 because there's no data there, because we're waiting for this to be fetched first of all, right? So it's very, very important. So we then use our service and our activated route. So the first thing we did to be smart, because we need the state ID that we get from our URL to then use that to search in our data. So we don't have a proper REST API, we just have one response and we need to search that particular response. So what we do here is we then go get the content here, right, in this particular stream, the state ID and the state data stream. Then we use the zip operator to zip them together. Now what the zip operator does is zips them together and returns you the return data for both of them once both have returned. And now with the Nigerian data, we just get that zipped array, and it corresponds with how you set the zip. So state ID is going to be the first and state data is going to be the second. That's why we have in position 0 state ID, and it's a string, so we parse it as an integer in base 10 format. And then the state data, we get that state data as well. We just do a search. We say, find me where this state ID is the same state ID that is passed in this particular state list. Then After that, we've gotten that particular state data. We return that state data on line 47. But before we do that, we then set the chart data, and the chart expects active cases, deaths, discharge. We set that and we call the share operator. Why do we call the share operator? To make it so that anytime somebody subscribes from the template here, wherever we use the async pipe, that doesn't get added. A new call doesn't get fired off, and then we just call the state name dynamically and all of that, and that's pretty much it. We have kind of like done the state data. The next thing we can do is, I would really recommend what features you want us to do. I think what will be really nice as what we can do next. What time is it now? It is around 4 o'clock. So I'll probably be heading to, the next thing we can do is we can add a search box here, somewhere here, that people can actually search for the, how do I say this? People can actually search for the state, so they can put in the state name, so that it will be easy for them to find a state, right? And that state will filter out that particular list. So that's kind of like what we can do there. And we can debounce as well. So that will be probably what we can work on next. But now we have like a complete state breakdown where we can show states. And what we can do is we can clean up the theme a little bit. We can remove this search bar here, all these things here. We can really just remove them. So if we go to the shared, we go to the nav bar and the nav bar HTML, we can start cleaning up this nav bar, because we kind of don't really need all of this. So we can comment out this unordered list. And if we save that now and we go and preview, we can see that this list is gone. And we can do the same thing for the search bar here. We can probably comment out this form here. And then we can save this. And yeah, all that is gone. I think this is a little bit much better. I remember you can sort of like do cool things like this with this particular theme. You can do cool things like that. And it even allows you to like set different, so if you check the customizer here, you can set different background colors, background images. So feel free, if you have a background image, you can actually set that here. And that's kind of what we do. We can set this to dark theme. We can change this to dark theme, easily change this to a dark theme. And that would be cool. Let's try and change this to a dark theme. Let's go to the configuration here. The configuration here is where we set the, well, this is the ngx configs, right? Here we can set, so the theme itself, template configuration here, this is so we can see where is this being used. We can see that it's being used in the configuration service. So here, if we check the configuration service, we can actually change this to dark, right? And we can set this to sidebar large. We can change the background. So here we can go and change like our page to dark theme. We can really do some really cool stuff. I don't think it looks that good in the dark theme here, so probably gonna change this a little bit now. The dark theme doesn't look as great as I think it can. Like, I mean, look at the difference with this one. That one looks a little bit much better. But it's all good. Then I guess we can do we add a line graph? We can add a line graph, right? Like for all the states. Excuse me. It will probably not be very useful for us. So here we can see that we have the dark theme. We can change it back to light. That's one thing I like this Apex theme. You can customize it here. Sidebar, collapse. Background color, we can test any of these background colors. If you want transparent layout, let's try some of these transparent layouts. Let's try. Let's see what happens. Oh, this is interesting. Okay. Purple pizzas. Let's try purple pizzas. What does that look like? Oh, okay. It doesn't really obey that. You need to have a transparent thing. So we can try this one, King YNA. That's interesting. I kind of like this, actually. It makes it look a little bit more... Huh. Let's see. I be the sunset. Oh, okay. We copied the wrong thing. Yeah. This is really, really cool as well. I'm just going to leave it at the default, which is the Man of Steel, which is this one here. I like it. Maybe we can change the image here. We can see that we can have as many images as we want. So if we go to assets and we go to image and we go to sidebar, we can see all the images here. This is the one we're using now. Coffee, we have one like that. We have one like that. Oh, I like this one, number 5. So let's try and configure it to be number 5, right? Configure number 505 and save and test it out. Oh yeah, this is really, really, really cool. I think this is much better. It's a little bit so like silent in there. So yes, it's interesting. We've been able to do that. By the way, guys, for everyone watching, so let's do window or view, exit full screen. This is actually also all mobile optimized. So this is how it would look like on a let's make it larger. This is how it looks like on a big screen. This is how it looks like on a medium screen, right? And then it goes all the way to that. And you can just come in here and then go in there. You can come in here in case. So it's really, really, really cool. Really cool. All right. Are there any questions before I go today? Are there any questions to everyone that's been watching? There's been a few of us that's been watching. Feel free to follow me on Google or anything like that, anywhere. You can follow me on Google. Just search. Oh, well, follow me on Twitter or search my name, Sani Yusuf, on Google. Yes. This is pretty much it. So we've done some amazing work here today. We can actually start calling it a day. Yeah. All right. Well, I guess tomorrow, for the next time we meet, we can sort of like work on the search bar, and then it would be nice if people could share this piece of data, and also if you could get historic data so that we can show like a graph of both the Nigerian historic data and stuff like that. That would really, 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 really be cool. Our API doesn't support that, unfortunately, so we might have to use another API completely. And there are a few people that build their own API, so we should be able to consume their API and see that historic data so that we can sort of like plot a time series graph of all the states and their data. And that should be pretty interesting. Yep. So this is it here. Tahir wants us to keep the Buhari picture. So yeah, it is what it is. He likes it that way. Okay. Thank you very much, everyone that has been watching, and your host. Now I'm going to play the outro music. Okay, today no outro music actually. All right. Bye, everyone. Thank you all for coming, and remember www.coruun.com. Yeah, so you can check it out.